Morning, everybody. It is a frosty minus 20 degrees Celsius. Minus 20 is minus 4 Fahrenheit. So pretty chilly. We do get chillier here, but it's one of our colder days. And it is February. And I woke up this morning to a hoar frost, which is this beautiful phenomenon that happens when it's just so cold that water vapor as a gas turns directly to a solid, to ice, when it hits a surface. So it freezes on the tree branches and everything around it, like this beautiful, feathery, gaseous ice. And it's gorgeous. And we only get that like a couple times a year if we're lucky, that effect. I woke up this morning before the sunrise, as one does in the wintertime, and I was doing the morning routine, making school lunches and breakfasts and everything. And the light was so blue outside. And I thought, I have to get out there with my camera because it's so gorgeous. But then by the time I was finished taking care of the kids, the sun was up fully and that beautiful special effect was gone. But I still wanted to come out and show you around. This is going to be a bit of a February garden tour, which is kind of funny. We don't usually do garden tours when we're buried under all the snow, but there are still things in the garden after all. This is partly a perennial food forest, and we have chickens, and there's more to look at than just fresh vegetables in the soil. So the first thing I encounter when I step out off my deck into my garden space is the peach tree. And it is a stately thing now. It's only 4 years old, but it's massive. I prune it back by sometimes 2/3 of its size every late winter. And then I often have to do these little prunes in between. I'll do like a summer solstice prune sometimes because that zaps it a little bit and it doesn't grow quite as obnoxiously in response. So a summer solstice prune works well for me to keep it a little bit more in check. But mostly I do a late winter prune on it. So that's coming. And I see the rabbits have been around it. My ankles are now covered in snow. Did not wear the right socks or boots. So there's rabbit poop all around the tree. They've been nibbling on the branches, the tiny branches that come out from the base, which is totally fine. I'm going to prune those a little bit anyway. The important thing is that they are not getting the trunk. Let's go to the other side. We can see they're not getting at the trunk at all, which is great. I did not wrap this tree for the first year ever. So I wrap my trees like this with chicken wire. I pull it up tall to keep the rabbits away from them. I didn't do that to the peach tree this year because it's big enough, or I hoped and prayed and crossed my fingers and hoped to die that this peach tree had a wide enough trunk and was mature enough, had mature enough bark that the rabbits weren't going to be as interested in it. So far, so good. And it's a great sign that they've actually been nibbling on the young branches and pooping around the tree, but they're not eating the trunk. So now I think this one is permanently off of my winterizing list. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That looks like black knot on my plum tree. This is black knot. I need to deal with that. Once you have it, you really can't get rid of it. It's a fungus that attacks stone fruit, and it's prevalent everywhere here, everywhere in the wild. It's all over wild stone fruits. So we have things like choke cherries in our forests, and it's all over those. Really, really hard to eradicate completely. So the most I can hope to do is to keep the tree cleaned off, keep it healthy, and hope that it survives. You can always prune black knot out, but once it's there, it's there. This tree also is 4 years old, and it's one I was really, really excited for. So I grew up with a wild-ish prune plum at my mom's old place. It was in rough shape. It was covered in black knot, but it didn't seem to matter. That thing just produced prolifically beautiful, clean fruit every year, and I ate so much off of it that I would throw up. I loved it. And so when I was choosing my fruit trees for this garden, I chose a prune plum, a European prune plum. They're the purple oblong ones. And it only just started producing last year. So we're going to do what we can to keep it healthy. I'm going to go and do some research on black knot. I think you can just cut the black knot out and leave the branch. Really hope I don't have to cut the branch off because this is an espalier tree. And so it really needs that shape. It needs that structure. It needs those branches. And then you're supposed to burn the black knot. I know that, to get rid of it. The pear tree is a replacement because rabbits ate it off completely in previous year. So it's way younger than the rest, hence its small stature. The rabbits came and ate this last Brussels sprout, and I just kind of let them. There were moments where I could have salvaged it, I'm sure. See, like there's still a little bit of sprout action going on, but they're just kind of eating it as needed. They're jumping up here, nibbling away at some of the little sprouts and then leaving, and then coming back when they're hungry. I can grow enough for me and the wildlife here for the most part. There are some things that really frustrate me that I don't have enough space for everybody. But usually there's enough to go around. My zinnias. The birds really appreciate having zinnia seeds in the winter. This is the apple tree I think I've lost because I didn't wrap it when I should have. Oh no! Oh, rabbits. I just found more disturbing sights, but let's just look at this one right now. I'm not sure that's going to come back. Let's go over here. They got in, I don't know, under, over? They've been in here. They broke in here and they got in and they stripped this guy. Darn, this one produced well this year for a little tree. But it might be okay. The reason that I'm not crying right now is because my mom has several very large mature apple trees and we can't keep up with them. There's too much fruit. That one's been damaged too. I don't know how they got in this one. Jumped over maybe when the snow was higher. Oh, but look at that hoarfrost. Yeah, that's pretty. I need to go back inside and change my socks and boots because this is starting to burn. Minus 20 is too cold to just have your bare ankles covered in snow. Okay, much better. I had to put on tall boots and winter socks. I ran out to walk my daughter to her crossing guard duty this morning. And I didn't take the time to put on proper socks and stuff. We just bolted out the door, which is such a Canadian thing, I think, or a cold climate liver thing. There's states in the US that are colder than us, I think, where you can expect your little kids, to stand out on crossing guard duty for 20 minutes in minus 20 Celsius or minus 4 Fahrenheit morning. No big deal. They'll be fine. We have a little bit of ice on our shed peak, but not much. I used to love the look of icicles coming off of our roofs, but I did learn eventually that is a sign that your building is not holding its heat well enough. So in our old farmhouse when I was a kid, a teenager, the ice sheets would come down off the sides of the eaves, just so ominous, like giant jaws of teeth that are about to clamp down on you. And it was actually very dangerous because they could break off and land on a person. And at the time, my mom was running a business out of that house. She was running a vet clinic in the downstairs of our house. So there was a steady stream of clients and their pets coming in and out of the doors. And there would just be these massive icicles hanging down. So that was a bit of a problem. But really beautiful and cool, if not a little ominous. There's our little Asian pear with our morning hoarfrost. To get a hoarfrost like this, you need to have a really still and really cold night. There can't be a breeze or anything because that water vapor has to just gently settle on whatever it's near. Little crystals. So it's kind of hard to picture that the garden is going to come alive very soon when it looks like this. Oh, I should check on the raspberries too. I'm walking through our garden right now. But it will. In fact, the first food production that comes out of the homestead this time of year, very soon at least, is going to be maple syrup. We have tapped our trees here. We have 4 Manitoba maples And they're fine. We've made syrup from them at least 1 year in the past. Before that, when I lived in a smaller urban space, we had a Norway maple on our front boulevard. And so I tapped that and we made lots of great maple syrup. Now, as of 2 winters ago, I think, my mom lives 10 minutes down the road, and where she lives, she has this beautiful sugar maple forest. So why bother tapping our 4 Manitoba maples if we can go and just like more efficiently tap several trees at her forest and just do a shorter season of tapping to get more sap and more syrup. So that's coming on the channel. I did record all of that last year, put it on YouTube. It was a bit of a miserable season because I was really sick the whole tapping season, the whole boiling season. And I was sitting in my mom's garage during an ice storm feeling like death. And we messed around with some different approaches on how we wanted to boil the sap. We considered doing it over wood fire, which just sounds romantic and dreamy. We had always boiled sap over propane in the past. Maybe once or twice we played around with open fire. Mostly it was on propane, like turkey fryer burners. And that's definitely what we want to do again this year. It's just so much simpler, so much cleaner. And it costs a bit more. You know, we have access to the wood to burn, so that would be free essentially. And the propane costs, but it doesn't cost that much. It's cleaner to burn. It's safer. It's pretty easy, honestly, in comparison to feeding a fire all day and night. So that's how we do it. That's how we're going to do it again this year. And that happens when the daytime temperatures start to rise above freezing consistently, but the nighttime temperatures stay below freezing. That triggers the sap to start running up from the tree roots, and then you can capture it on its way up. I see that my raspberries have been pruned back as always. This is why I'd like to switch to just fall bearing raspberries. These are my summer bearing right here. And with summer bearing, you need to leave primocanes, so last year's new growth, leave them untouched because those are the ones that will produce berries in this year. And the only ones you cut out, just for airflow purposes, are the ones that produced berries last year. So the rabbits they don't care. They came in and they just cut all of my raspberry canes back. They did it last year too. 2 years ago, I wrapped this whole thing in a chicken wire fence, but clearly that doesn't help because, like, look at my apple tree there. That's a 4-foot tall piece of chicken wire. Yes, it's buried in some snow. So the fence just doesn't work for me. So wrapping things in fencing, it's not a perfect solution. A perfect solution is to just live in harmony with nature and have balance and have enough to go around. And with the raspberries, if I just do fall bearing, it'll be fine. The rabbits can do all of my pruning for me. That's working in harmony with nature. You need to prune your fall bearing raspberries back in late winter, all the way to the ground. And so they actually would help and not hinder if it was just fall bearing. So that may be a project for this year. I might just dig out some of these because we're going to get low production on them anyway, having lost our last year's primocanes. I might work on transitioning over to just fall bearing. I'll see if I can find a source for some healthy fall bearing canes from friends or neighbors and see how it goes. All right, the only other thing I want to do out here before I go back in is look after the chickens a little bit. It's pretty cold. I'm going to fill up their feeder and get them some cracked corn because cracked corn is a good thing to give them in the cold. Here's the cracked corn. It's just corn kernels that have been crushed, so it's a little bit easier for them to digest, but their gizzards breaking these down smaller helps them warm up. This is a design thing, actually. We planned for high snow when we made this door. It is 12 inches up from the ground, but it's already a problem. I guess we should have made it 18 inches, or I just have to shovel it out. Hi, girls. Here you go, girls. I'm gonna leave you in there to watch the chickens while I get a shovel to shovel myself out here. So one of the things that makes us homesteaders, that label really does fit who we are and what we do, even though we're in the suburbs, is that we're always creating, designing, building systems that work to help us meet our goals, to help us produce food, to help us live in harmony with nature. And the chickens are an important part of that system that we're building here. They are great for eggs. Hi, Patsy. They're great for cuddles. Patsy doesn't like to cuddle though, or I'd go get her. The others do. And they're also great for cleaning up kitchen scraps. So we put a lot of our kitchen scraps right in our compost bin, but some of those things benefit from being broken down by chickens first. So they'll eat them, turn them into poop, and then that goes in the compost bin. Things like bread products, cooked things, meats. We try not to have much waste in our kitchen, but we do have kids. And so kids will get a meal in front of them and half of it will end up on the floor. So we don't want to eat it, but it's still perfectly good for the chickens. So they help us with that, with waste management or cycling that waste back into our garden. And one of the things that we're thinking about for the upgrade of the chickens as part of this system is how we're going to upgrade our coop. Kim did the run new the second year we lived here, so we could accommodate more chickens. And I love the design of the run. It's got clear roof panels for winter, so when they're not covered in snow, it's like a greenhouse effect. This coop was built 10 years ago in our old backyard, and we moved it with us. And it was one of Kim's first structure-like building projects. She's an excellent builder, but this was 10 years ago. So we've been thinking a lot about what we might do differently. And one thing I've gone back and forth on is the possibility to do a deep litter method. That is when you have high enough sides or walls on your coop floor that you can just add bedding throughout the winter rather than cleaning it out. And then the poop decomposes and warms the space. And I really like that idea. I'm not out here scraping frozen poop stalagmites off the base of the coop every couple of weeks. It's just, you just dump more bedding on top and then it keeps them warmer. But then in spring, you have to deal with all of that bedding. And in my compost system, it works a lot better for me just to have a little bit of bedding to add to my kitchen scraps as I build the pile up through the winter. Then you're really layering it. So for that reason, just the way that the chicken coop would work with our compost system, it really is best for me to not use the deep litter method, even though maybe it's a little more work, really not much, to come out and just scrape a layer of poop off and give them fresh bedding every 3 weeks. They don't poop that much. They spend a lot of time outside in the run, and I really never have to clean the run because it gets scratched. They dig through all the leaves and the wood chips, and that speeds up decomposition. And so it's really just a beautiful, rich soil in the run that I top with fresh wood chips all the time. And then if I need a beautiful mulch or something even to put on some of the gardens, then I can clean out the chicken run as needed, but it never needs it. Hi, Robin. Hard to see with the sun. Robin is one of our oldest ladies. This red girl up front, she is 10 years old. And then the dark one behind her is Fern, and she's a younger one. So is Patsy. So that's how we do systems design around here. We think about how things are going to work together to make the system function well. Hi, girls. I think they want me to close the door because it's going to get cold. Time for me to clean up out here and get inside. I guess. Oh, it's beautiful out. You would not even know that it's -20 or -4 Fahrenheit. The longer I stand out here though, the more irritated I get about those apple trees. Only time will tell. I'm pretty sure this big guy here is toast. The other ones will survive. The question remains, how damaged and deformed will they be? Time will tell. But it's okay, because we've got our beautiful, mature peach and plum trees. There's some black knot in that plum tree. Got a pear tree that's finally coming through and not being eaten back. And we have so many apples that we don't know what to do with them at my mom's place. So maybe if even one of these apples dies, it's a good thing. I'll plant something else that's a different kind of fruit. Diversity is key. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. All right. Well, I guess it's time now to go back inside, get some work done, edit this video. I want to thank everybody who's come along, joined me recently on the Hobby Homestead channel. It means so much to me that people are so supportive and want to watch what we're doing here in our little suburban garden space. It's really, really nice to have company in all of this. So thank you for watching. If you're a new subscriber here, thank you so much for subscribing. I'm really happy to have you here. And that's not just a platitude. That's real. This is a dream of mine, to be able to create content, somewhat educational, somewhat just entertainment value, and be able to bring people along for the ride as we do what we love to do. I hope that you're keeping warm this February. And if you're getting really eager to start seeds and it's a crow. If you're getting really eager to get the garden in, I'm with you, but let's just continue to enjoy the peace and the quiet of February. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll come and grow with us.